Hey guys, I just wanted to make a quick update about some of the stuff I found out this week. In the last video I made, I had been put on pretty much complete, horizontal bed rest, because of my heart rates until I went down to see my electrophysiologist. So I saw him on the 13th, and a lot of people, my mom wasn't very thrilled with what I walked away with, but at the same time, it was pretty significant what he discovered. With all the heart monitors and EKGs and stuff I've worn, most of the time I'm in what they call a sinus rhythm, a normal rhythm. And with this latest heart monitor, especially when I was very symptomatic with a lot of my readings, he said when he first looked at it, now I had met with the cardiologist in town on the 1st, and he even said that it looked very sinus, and that was fine. It was just really fast or slow. And the electrophysiologist I see, Dr. Ruby, agreed when he first looked at the heart monitor results that it was a sinus rhythm. But when I was actually sitting in the office with him, I was actually laying on the floor when he walked in the room. I was so sick. My heart rate was in the 160s when I got there, and it was just pretty horrible. And so he went back to look at the heart monitor results more closely, and he realized that a lot of the time I'm not really in a sinus rhythm, that it looks like it is, but it really isn't. But this is what got me. He can't figure out what rhythm it's in. He said, it looks very sinus, and then this is what he said, missing things. He didn't really elaborate on that. I know some of the waves on my EKGs go missing sometimes. But he didn't really elaborate on exactly what I'm missing. He just said it goes into an unrecognizable rhythm. Something he's not really seen, and he can't really place a name on what it is. So, he said he was going to talk. Him and his colleagues were going to work and see what they could find about that. But he had kept me overnight, and then sent me back the next morning to see my cardiologist in town. But he kept me overnight because my blood pressure had been really high when I first got there, and then it was more on the low side when he rechecked it. And that really, he wanted to do a couple blood tests to make sure everything was okay with that. And he also noted that my body temperature was much lower than it had ever been previously when I had seen him. My body temp was like 95.1, and usually I run up at like 97, 98, so that was a little lower for me, and he just wanted to make sure that, absolutely nothing was going wrong. Especially, he could tell I was very symptomatic, so. But nothing, transpired for any of that. It was just my body's reaction, apparently, to whatever. We're not entirely sure. So he decided he was not going to give me medications himself. And I completely understand where it came from, because I am 2 hours away, and he did not want something to happen where I had some reaction with the medicine, because I don't tolerate a lot of medicines very well, especially with my recent hepatitis bout. He didn't want to, give me medicines and send me away where he could not monitor it very closely. So that's why he sent me to the cardiologist in town the next morning. He actually called and set that appointment up himself while I was sitting in the office. So he actually used my cell phone. And the next morning, I came back to town. I went to see the cardiologist, and he put me on two medicines. He put me on a beta blocker to lower my heart rate, or to block the higher heart rates. But the problem, I can't even remember what the medicine of that one is. I think he just went back to like a atenolol or something like that, or propranolol. It's one of those. I've been on them before, and it makes my bouts of bradycardia, or my slow heart rates, much slower. So what they did is they decided to put me on another medicine where they tried it like 2 doses when I was in the hospital. It was probably a year and a half ago. And they took me off of it. I mean, I don't know why they took me off of it, but they took me off of it. Apparently it wasn't doing what they wanted, or it was, but my heart rate was still getting too high at that point, even though I was in there for a really low heart rate, so whatever. But he put me on Robenal, which is actually something that is used for surgery. It also is used for peptic ulcers, for people who actually take it outside the hospital, but it is added with anesthesia to help cut down on secretions during surgery, like saliva and mucus and all those things that you really don't want to increase when you have someone intubated. And it also helps. That was weird. It also helps with not letting your heart rate drop, because basically it suppresses the vagus nerve a little bit, so it doesn't slow down. Your sympathetic nervous system goes into overdrive. It kind of settles that. So we're hoping that between the two, I don't get too low, but I don't get too high. So we'll see. I'm still having, I guess you can call it breakthrough fast heart rates, where I'm still getting pretty high. And I haven't really noticed anything lower than like 55, 50, which for me is pretty good since I drop into the, lower 30s. Yeah. Let's see, otherwise, I still can't get my magnesium levels to an acceptable range no matter what I do. They actually gave me IV magnesium, hoping that they could bring it up, because I had dropped even more this week, even after having, on the 10th, I had oral magnesium and like 2 extra doses on top of my 3 doses a day, and an IV bag of magnesium, and my magnesiums were even lower than they were on Saturday after I got all that. So we decided to go ahead and do an IV mag bag to hope that it would bring it up a little bit more until after Christmas, when I guess we'll be doing testing or something. I don't know. I need to sit down with my primary doctor, and we need to figure out exactly why I can't keep enough magnesium or potassium in my body, because I personally think that has a lot to do with my heart rates and such, but no one else agrees with that, so we'll see. But yeah, I mean, I didn't really come away with any brain shattering, oh my gosh, it's an answer thing. But I thought it was really interesting that I did find out this week that I'm not really in a rhythm that they thought, and that I go into an unrecognizable rhythm, but it's not anywhere deadly or anything. So, who knows? I'm really excited. In a couple days I get to go home, and I will be getting to hang out with my 3-year-old nephew. So that'll be exciting. I'm trying to rest up for that trip because I am going to really pay for that afterwards. I have definitely not. I'm still having trouble sitting up for very long or even standing for very long. So we'll see because it's going to take about 8 hours to get home. But it'll be okay because I get to see my parents and I haven't seen them in like a year, so I'm excited. I hope everyone is doing well and is able to have a fabulous weekend. And I will talk to y'all later.